So we're going to do an overview for Management 11 is the version of the book MGMT 11 and Chapter 1. Just a reminder, this is a high-level overview. You are expected to read each chapter, even though we don't go over each chapter in detail. I use that as a baseline amount of knowledge so that we can go above and beyond that with some of our hands-on projects. Your textbook describes a variety of learning outcomes for Chapter 1, but the most important piece is that it explains the 4 functions of management and what managers do. In management, the primary task is getting work done through others. As a manager, you are concerned with the efficiency of the effort, expense, and waste that it takes to be able to get each process completed. You're managed on the effectiveness of your ability to minimize each one of those areas to help the organization be successful. There are 4 primary functions of management. You need to memorize these and memorize their definitions. So planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And those are the 4 other modules that we have for this course. We'll be going into each one of those functions much more specifically. Chapter 1 describes the types of managers. This depends upon the organization, how flat or how vertical it's set up, and the number of employees that it has. In a lot of smaller organizations, there aren't as many levels of management. In some larger organizations, there can be even more middle managers involved. The textbook walks you through responsibilities for top line, middle, first line, or also called frontline managers. As you start into your management experience, you are most likely going to be either a first line or a team leader. So do keep in mind that your goal is to be able to encourage and help improve the performance of others. And if they're all doing better, they're moving up and moving into different areas of performance, and that reflects well on you. Walks through different roles and different skills. Technical skills depends in part on what level of management. It also depends on what industry that management, that company is involved in. This is one of my favorite slides, and it shows that technical skills vary depending upon the role of the person in the organization. But human skills, those are right at the top, all the way across the board for everyone. You must be able to play well with others in the sandbox. A couple of the mistakes I want to bring to your mind are the first 2. Insensitive to others and cold, aloof, and arrogant. A lot of times, new managers come across with those impressions, or the others have those impressions. But many times it's not what the manager is meaning to demonstrate. But the manager has to have some time to be able to learn how to develop barriers and boundaries for employees, especially if that manager has been promoted from within and is moving from a co-worker to a supervisor position. You want to be able to be supportive of your employees and know what's going on in their lives so you can help them, but there may come a time when you have to make a decision for the success of the company that's detrimental to that employee, and the closer you are, the more difficult that can be. And then number 10, over-dependent on advocate or mentor. That can be a difficulty because you, again, as a new manager, have to learn that careful balancing act of asking questions when you need clarification, but if you ask too many questions of your mentor, then you come across as weak and ineffectual. If you have to ask how to get everything done, why do we need you? How are you benefiting us? So it's finding that middle road. And those are some of the initial challenges that new managers have. This transition for management is very accurate. A lot of people come in excited to be the boss, excited to have decision-making authority, and they get in there and they start working on their tasks and figuring out better ways to do things. But then they realize that, wait a minute, it's not about being the boss. It's not about authority. It is about being a problem solver and troubleshooter, but not getting in there with your team, but supporting your team, helping with those improvements, and then getting out of the way so they can do the work. Where it has after a year as a manager and it says no longer a doer, it doesn't mean you can't periodically get into shoulder to shoulder with your team to show them that you are a team player willing to help get things done. But when you're down in a trench, you can't see that bigger picture. You can't help with strategic planning. So you have to be able to step in and help, but be able to quickly step back out and make sure that the team is on track. So you're listening and you're providing that support that they need to know if they're doing what they need to do or if adjustments need to be made. And you learn that it isn't about managing tasks, it's about supporting people in their development. Walks through management practices, they're really great. And then it talks about key terms at the end of the chapter. And you'll want to be familiar with each one of the terms that are provided.